Hey guys, this is Thomas from NurseMoneyTalk, and in this video, what I want to do is I want to talk about is being a CNA or, certified nurse assistant. And I think since most people use CNAs, patient tags, patient care tags interchangeably, I'm going to group all of that together. But let's talk about is if going down that route is actually worth it as a career or a profession. Before I get into that though, if you haven't already subscribed, I want to go ahead and invite you to hit that subscribe button on this channel. Talk about everything related to being a nurse career, nurse life, being a nursing student. So everything that kind of encompasses nursing career and nursing student life. And if you find this video helpful, I would also appreciate the thumbs up as well on this video. Let's go ahead and get right down to it with if being a CNA is actually worth it. And for me personally, I think in most instances, I would actually say probably not. Now, just to kind of get it out there, I have worked as a nurse aide before getting my RN. I did work for a couple years or so as a patient care tech in it was in an ICU setting, which meant, of course, I also got floated to the floor. And then also I did work as in a mental health floor as well. At that particular point, it was a mental health floor that dealt with adults and geriatrics, geriatric patients. So I have some experience working as a nursing assistant, and that's why I can say that unless you fall into like two criterias, there's a lot of other professions out there that might be worth a look. The first one where I would say being a CNA is worth it is if you're thinking about a career in healthcare. Now, there's a lot of videos out there that will give you, I don't know, like a day in the life of a nurse, a day in the life of, respiratory therapist or whatever, a day in the life of whatever it could be. The issue with those day in the life videos from what I've seen is that they don't quite capture very well what it's like actually working in healthcare in a hospital setting. And so one of the best ways you can actually go and get experience and get a feel for what it's like actually being in a hospital setting is to go out and get a job in the healthcare setting. And so I think with that, a CNA ends up being at times what I would call almost like a low barrier to entry if you want to kind of get a feel for what it's like taking care of patients and everything that has to do with that. Now, the second part of that is a CNA is really great if you're in nursing school. On the first part, it's really great if you're thinking about working in healthcare, especially if you're thinking about becoming a nurse. On the second end, it's really great if you're already in nursing school, and that's for a couple of reasons. So this could be if you are a nursing student that needs the money. Then I think being a nurse aide can be almost like a low barrier to be able to get a job that can pay you, relatively, decently above minimum wage, usually, to be able to make some extra money. Once nurse managers know that, you're in nursing school or whatnot, they generally tend to be helpful in terms of trying to work around your schedule, especially since a lot of them are hoping to recruit you after you graduate from nursing school. And also, like, if you're wanting the experience, going back to the first part that I already said, Or also, in some of my other videos, I also mentioned about how working as a nurse aide can be a really great networking experience to make landing your first job easier. And I'll put a link to that video above if you want to check that out, that topic out specifically. So those are really the two main criterias I would say being a CNA is worth it. Now let me just kind of talk about a little bit why, like past that, I don't think being a CNA can be worth it in the long run. The first part is that it's a very dangerous job, or it can be a dangerous job. As I'm sure many of you know, nursing is considered one of the more dangerous jobs out there, for various reasons, one of which, risk of, assault, combativeness from patients or family members ends up being a key part of that. But also, you got to keep in mind, CNAs work fairly closely to nurses. They tend to be where nurses are. And so if nurses have a high risk of physical harm, so does CNAs as well. The big difference, though, as I'll talk about moving, in the next one, is that the CNAs aren't getting paid as well as the nurses are. But I'll talk about here in a second. But even outside of the actual physical combative harm or assault, a lot of the work CNAs do, they end up shouldering a lot of the physical labor aspects, whether it is, transporting patients, so helping patients, get out of bed, ambulate, go to the restroom, turning patients, a whole host of other things. And we can sit here and talk about how, like, hospitals are no lift facilities and all this other stuff. And I'll sit here and tell you how much of, BS that is at times, because, that there's still a lot of manual labor involved in moving patients, some of whom can be, if you want, can be on the overweight side. And so, when you're moving patients manually, no matter how great of a body mechanics you might have, no matter how much you stress on it and you might focus on it, there's always a risk that you could pull something, tweak something, or do whatever. And, and then over time, after so many years of doing that, you can just physically wear your body down. And so that's the first part. The second part, which is that the pay not being that good, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, it says that CNAs make about $30,000 a year. Depending on where you live, that might be kind of generous too. And so when you compare that to other healthcare professionals, CNAs have some of the lowest salaries and lowest pays out of healthcare professionals. And, when you throw that in with everything I just said, the risk of physical harm, the demanding and physical nature of the job, I think it's really hard for me to then come out and recommend that somebody becomes a CNA, or that somebody, stays as a CNA for an extended period of time. Instead, like I said, I think a CNA can be a great stepping stone if you are thinking about work in healthcare. It's a great stepping stone if you are thinking about becoming a nurse. Well, if you are thinking about becoming a CNA still, NurseMoneyTalk.com/schools. You can find CNA training programs there. If you are a CNA and you're watching this video, if possible, I would encourage you to really consider, taking that step forward. Once again, go checking out NurseMoneyTalk.com/schools, and then looking at an LPN or an RN program because like I said, I know firsthand CNAs work hard, and you know, it with, you know, considering like the low pay and everything else that comes with it, I think, you know, I think it's one of those things where you should, where if you are a CNA, you should really consider, if possible, I know everybody's situation is different, looking at taking that step forward, and getting your LPN licensure or your RN licensure. So let me know if you have any questions at all. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you very soon in that next video.